Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda, and this is the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast.
This podcast is all about taking action and creating that badass business abundance and life that you want.
Where we share stories, laughs, wins, and epic fails to show you the whole picture of the entrepreneurial journey.
It's not just unicorns and rainbows, people.
Jump on and follow us through this raw and witty roller coaster,
where we get down and dirty and go behind the scenes of life and entrepreneurship.
Get on it,
get over it,
and get after it.
Hey, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda. Welcome to the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast. We're back, the dynamic duo, and we are excited to talk about this subject. This is coming fresh off of a launch that we recently did, and we wanted to give you a little behind the scenes of what went on during a live launch for selling. I know selling is the scary S word.
Big scary S word. Yeah, it's interesting. We have a couple of points that we want to talk about. I am super stoked about giving the behind the scenes and the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifference of the launch. So just as a background, this is our one of our signature products, or I should say it is our signature product, the Badass Amplifier, aka the BA, which is the 6-month accelerator program for entrepreneurs across the world. With that being said, this was our third time launching it in the structure in which it is as the BA, but a new way of launching because we invested in ourselves and invested in our business.
Yes. So if you're not familiar with what a launch is, so a launch is basically just a fancy word for like a marketing campaign. So we did a very extensive 3-week marketing campaign to talk. So for those of you who didn't see it, I don't know where you were hiding because we were all over the place.
Everywhere.
Literally all over the place across 18 social media platforms. 18. Yeah, we went crazy. Our whole team went crazy. I mean, one of our teammates posted recently about it and was like, oh, we really didn't have a life for a month, but it was really great. I had a life. I don't know. I guess maybe we gave too much to the team, but I had a life. Crazy life. Anyway, so it's basically a fancy word for our marketing campaign. So when we say launch, it's fancy for saying a marketing campaign. So marketing and sales. Yes. Marketing and sales campaign. So we wanted to kind of break down a little bit about what that looked like and what the differences were and what worked and what didn't, and like the successes that we had and the failures that we found in that process, both personally and professionally, because, when you really, we talk about it a lot, when you really hyper focus on something, you're prioritizing that one thing. So there's going to be other things in your life that maybe you don't get as much sleep as you thought you wanted to. Maybe you eat a little worse. Maybe you skip your workouts. Like there are things that you may or may not do. But again, you're hyper-focusing. So we want to talk a little bit about what that looks like or looked like recently when we did our launch.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up. I literally was just having a conversation with a client. She's one of the ones in the BA, but she also is a personal client of mine. We both have personal clients that are in the BA as well. But pretty much that business is like a relationship, and there are sacrifices and concessions that need to happen in order to be able to make it fruitful and fulfilling and the biggest it can be. And like there is action and sacrifice and different things. And so we definitely shifted some things around. We definitely it was full force and super excited. So again, we've done this before, but we knew things had to change because we were getting results. We had results in our first 2 launches this year. But we saw an advertisement for Jasmine Star, who is one of the people that we both follow. We love her. We've loved her. I've loved her ever since I found out about her 5 years ago, probably. I've been following her journey. And so we invested in a program, Your Best Launch Ever. And she gave us a new way of thinking where our launches were a bit more I would almost say, I mean, there was a system, wouldn't you say, but it was more hodgepodgey, not as intense as what we did before. What would you say?
I would say we definitely had a system, but I think the main difference for me is the length of time of the marketing. So it was so normally when we would do our launches, we would talk about it for a longer period of time. We would do, it wouldn't be a hyper focusing. It would be, we would talk about it every week and we would discuss it. We'd post about it, but it wasn't so all encompassing. Like, this is all we're talking about. This is all we're doing right now. And that was definitely a shift in it was still obviously a time commitment, because anytime you're really investing in your business, it's going to take some time and energy commitment. But for me, the biggest difference was the hyper focusing in on that marketing campaign and that sales campaign for a very short amount of time. So normally when I am looking to sell something, I will talk about it all the time over the course of a longer period of time. Whereas this was, it actually kind of threw me for a loop, because it was weird to me to only really sell for a week, because I on larger programs, I like to sell all year round, but it was a different mindset of really focusing for those 2 to 3 weeks in that specific product in this case, or service. It's kind of a little bit of both. So that to me was the biggest change, that we had a system, we had things we were putting in place, we were doing marketing and promotion, we were doing advertising, and this other way was just much more hyper focused, much more full scale, much more all hands on deck for sure during that hyper focused 3 week period.
Intensified in those 3 weeks too. And I agree. Yeah, but also I think we hodgepodged it before. Like, yes, we would promote it, but all of our social media wasn't directed in that way. All of our conversations weren't directed in that way. And I really, it was definitely a slight mindset shift about, because the launch, just to back up, Amanda said we did 3 weeks, but 2 weeks were to push. So the process was, for 2 weeks, we're advertising to push everybody to a master class or 3 master classes. And we'll give you numbers in a second. And then from that master class, or those set of master classes, all within 12 hours, we did the 3. Then we had a 6-day open cart where we're selling, and you're actually not selling every day either, which is mind-blowing in social. And we'll talk about just the social media side. There were some behind the scenes where we're having conversations here and there or whatnot, and getting approved for a funding thing for some women in Southeast Asia region. But the launch itself, 3 weeks pushing, 2 weeks pushing people towards that master classes, and then 1 week of sales. I agree. It was it still is kind of a bit of a mind F for me, because it's just like, okay, but what I love about this is it's like shit or get off the pot kind of mentality. And like either you're going to make the decision, which really is, it is pricing and buying psychology kind of like 101, that most people that are going to buy like that. Like, they don't need that. If you give them too much time, they start to have analysis by paralysis. Life happens. They talk themselves out of it, et cetera, et cetera.
And you touched this little subject that we're not selling every day. And for me to have such a small window of a closed cart, and I think this might come back to a little bit of my history within telemarketing and more like forceful old school sales, where I would like be up in somebody's business. So I had a hard time shifting away from doing more sales, because my natural instinct is to hit everybody hard, just go crazy. And we did, but there were days even within the sales period that we were not selling. And that always feels a bit wonky to me, because I want to get on the phone. I want to make calls. I want to close deals. And I did that on one-on-ones, but from a mass social media perspective, we weren't doing the daily sales call. And so that it threw me a loop a little bit to,
yeah,
I'm hardcore. I want to do the things.
Yeah, no, it was great. And again, 18 platforms, we were posting 1 to 3 times a day in a very structured, formatted way that Jasmine had suggested, which we really enjoyed. And it's interesting because we definitely, like, people noticed. And I love, and we'll talk about it here at the end, like we're rinsing and repeating here pretty quickly because we have so many hot leads, because we actually did ads as well. So we have this like plethora of like targeted audience that we need to give another product to. But yeah, we were posting a ton across those 18 platforms, and it was really, it was crazy. It was absolutely insane and beautiful at the same time. And we learned a lot too. And we'll talk about our numbers and our learnings, but I'll say in the moment, like you know, taking it from the Instagram style to put it into a LinkedIn voice, to put it into a Facebook voice, to make sure that we're branding it all in the same way. And if it's engagement, if it's sales, if it's education goals, right? Like that type of stuff. Yeah, it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible.
It was. And, you know, when we talk about posting 3 times a day, we really do mean 3 separate times a day. Like it would be like an 8, noon and 8 United States time. Cause we were staggered. Our entire team is in different countries. So we literally were posting all times a day, reaching out to people, DMing. We had a whole strategy across all platforms. And it was, I was joking because I'm not social in general, but it was the most social I've been because I was hitting more networking events. Yeah. I mean, we literally destroyed. I mean, I think I went to like, in that 3-week period, I think I went to 12 different networking events, and I left my house 12 times, folks. That's a lot. So I know that may not seem like a lot, but in a 3-week period, it was a lot. My poor kid was like, another babysitter? I'm like, yeah, another babysitter. Mom's gonna go take care of some stuff. So it was a very intense process, and it was multiple times a day. It was, like Lynn said, different voices, different styles based on the platform, based on our audience there, based on a lot of different things, doing different ad campaigns. And again, working with social media people and advertising agencies, and really targeting and going through and reevaluating, changing the ads, adjusting things. So it was a lot of things that we were trying differently this time around. And it definitely made a significant change in some of the hard results that we had. So just to give like
wait, before I go into hard results, I want to talk about the different prongs. So we just gave you, like, there are different ways that we actually went after this. So we used Jasmine Starr's process, which is her social media process, right? So essentially we use the social media plan of attack. So that's one. We had affiliates who were helping us out, which that I will say my responsibility that I definitely see how we can improve upon that, because we didn't have a lot of activity in affiliates, and that's on them, that's on us. And I definitely see the way we can absolutely improve upon that. Amanda was overseeing the ads and working with ad managers, right? So, and we saw a lot of traction there. I literally picked up the phone and messaged a ton of people because I was able to secure a funding option for women in Southeast Asia region through a women leadership program. So doing a lot of that networking. Amanda said I think that's the most you've been to in the last year. How long have you been in Houston? Since she's lived in Houston, the last like 3 years, she did just as many networking events in the 2.5 weeks that she was going to network.
Yeah, I usually do like 1 to 2 a month, and I did 12 in 10 days.
Yeah, insane. So we were attacking it, besides other things, we were attacking it across different kind of prongs, if you would. We were also so there was some reactive, there was some active, and there was a lot of proactiveness. The other thing that would be like almost like guerrilla marketing, where wherever you would see in Facebook groups, which we didn't get anything, but every little bit kind of helps move the needle towards know, like, trust. Every time you would see in a group, oh, events were created across Eventbrite, Meetup, those type of things in our social media platforms. And then we were like copy pasting our website and a little blurb of promote yourself in the private Facebook groups on, underneath those threads. So we were attacking it hard. We were tracking all of our efforts as well, which I love our tracking sheet, even though the last week, I think our team members were done with it. They were not putting, I'm like, guys, you have to put it in the track. Like, this is the most important week. So we know our results. But yeah, so Amanda's going to give you numbers, because I will say overall, we either exceeded industry standard numbers or we were at industry standard.
Yes. So we had three, okay, as we mentioned earlier, we had 3 master classes, all 3 of them. And this is actually one of the things that was surprising to me, is that we were pretty evenly spread about how many people were in each one. And normally you get it where it's like, oh, 5 signed up for this one and 100 signed up for the other. And so, for future launches that you don't use that other time. No, we had over 100 people signed up in each of our master classes, actually almost 150 in each of the master classes.
We fell 36 shy. Our goal was to have 500 people registered. We had 364 registered across the 3. So it was like 145.
Our goal was 500. We had 464. You said 300.
Oh, anyway. My bad. Yeah.
We were 36 shy.
We were only 36 shy. So we had like 170, 145, 130. I can't remember, but yes, exactly.
Yeah. So we had a very large distribution in that group. We had email open rates, generally speaking, of between 40 and 75% email open rates, which is crazy high. And even after the masterclass into our sales week, where people are getting inundated with sales emails, we still had our email open rate at over 46%, which is, again, very high for industry standards. And we had very few unsubscribes afterwards. So even among our normal list, so we basically didn't lose anybody. So like nobody has,
well, we doubled our email list, almost doubled our email list during this campaign.
Yeah. And then I think we lost a total of 15 people, which was like, okay. No. I mean, and some of them were accidental, because we had a couple of people who are in our program who accidentally unsubscribed. Yeah. So anyway, so it was a very good overall campaign rate. We had a great click-through rate. So again, when you're looking at the price point and the amount of people who showed up to the lives versus who watched the replays, we still had a really high click-through rate. I believe it was the higher side of the average of industry standards. I didn't actually go through, we'll call myself out. I have not actually yet gone through our conversion numbers for each master classes specifics, because I've been doing other things, but I know that we were
show up rate though at the master classes were industry standard. So we landed between 25 to 34% in show up rate. So out of 100, either a quarter or a third of them showed up.
Yes. And stayed on all the way until the end. So even like not just showed up, but stayed on the entire time. So that was also a really big thing, that nobody stopped watching halfway through. Most of them, I think it was all but like 7 or 8 people total, stayed to the very end through Q&A, through the whole thing. So that was also really high as well.
Each one, we had about a third drop off when we started pitching / and then into the Q&A. So that's still above industry norm. So I would say at the highest, it was a third. And one of them, it was only a quarter dropped off when we started pitching, because the masterclass is only an hour, which is another thing that we changed, because we typically did 90 minutes. We did it down to 60 minutes. And then we added Q&A at the end. So that's still above industry average. And then our closing this way is supposed to be a 1 to 3%. And we actually exceeded that if we look at how many we closed in all, but not all of them were closed because of that process. Some were because of personal reach outs and stuff, but still we hit it if we look at just the brass tacks numbers.
Yes. So all in all, super successful launch. hitting our numbers. And it's one of the reasons why we're looking into doing a second launch, because we have now a very, very warm audience of our target market, our people. So we want to be able to supply to them what they want, which is how you sell. You're not just selling to sell anything. You want to sell what people want, what people actually need to make their lives better. So that's why we're moving into another launch as it is.
Yeah. So what would you say your biggest learning was during this?
Okay. This probably doesn't surprise other people, but it surprised me because of the way I am. We'll just call it that. So one thing I did not do, or I did not take into account, was how done with people I would be. And I say that because normally when I'm in a big push, I can push through anything. I can do anything I want. But by the end of that 3 weeks, because of all of the social media in combined or in combination with all the networking, in combination with a lot of outreach, a lot of talking with people, doing trainings, getting on the phone, doing one-to-ones with people, it was a lot more interaction than I had done in a long time. So I was out of practice of that. I mean, it's one thing when I used to do it when I would be in front of people all day. And so I was used to that, but I haven't done it in a long time. So my social battery dried up. So in the future, I know that I need to really save time for myself because I'm an introvert. I need to go ahead and put those very important, like no talkie to Amanda moments. I need to add those in because I was surprised by how it hit me by the end of that, but actually even the middle of the third week, just being done with interacting socially. I was surprised by it because normally I can push through just about anything, but I was so out of practice from being my little like reclusive life. I was surprised.
Yeah. One thing we didn't talk about is like our team. Our team was killer because we were also switching over to a brand new platform for the Badass Amplifier or the BA. So one of our team members, even though they were helping us with social media, then was hyper focused in on getting the BA on Kajabi because we switched over to Kajabi up and rolling, and she did a beautiful job. Yeah, it's
Yeah. And I mean, I think also, we also still had our other businesses running at the same time. I want to also say that we were also like, I was also still homeschooling my kid. I was also still doing our normal things. Lynn was also still going out and like being with friends and like doing things and had visitors and all the things.
Visitors, but I don't know how much friend stuff I've had.
I mean, anyway, the point is the other things were happening still. Like we still had our clients, and our team really, really, really knocked it out of the park. They were super communicative. They were always on point. They were doing all the things they needed to do. It was really, really impressive. And so, if you guys are listening, we love you. Don't ever leave us.
You guys did a great job. So some of the things that we're going to switch moving forward is definitely so I one of my learnings is I definitely learned a lot around how to be able to support and the timeline that affiliates need as well. And even though we created a great support mechanism, I definitely see things to improve on in the future. So ways that we can encourage them, get them more engaged, and also the education around affiliates. Like a lot of people, even though we have people that say yes, I think because we have a great network that people like us, and to have them understand like that, that they're able to make money without having to, fulfill the need, if you would. And so it's not like taking business away from you, it's putting money in your pocket, and it's also building your reputation. It's building your know, like, trust, because you're referring them into someone obviously that you believe in. So I definitely had a lot of learnings around that. I learned that I hate my email platform. Hate it. Oh, I might have to switch.
I love our email. Is it your personal one or do you hate ours? Because I love our email platform.
ConvertKit.
Yeah.
I don't like the other one. I'm not going to name names.
All right. Okay. No, that makes sense. I know that makes sense. love ConvertKit. So
I do.
ConvertKit, you want to sponsor us? We love you.
We do.
Yeah, that's not a plug. We aren't sponsored by them,
Yeah.
but
Also,
other thing that no, go ahead.
well, I was going to say it's interesting because we also got feedback from some of the people, and I definitely saw nuances inside our master class that will help with conversion that we definitely need to change. And I've already started making tweaks on that. It One thing that I always love is that we definitely we play in our strengths, the two of us, and our team is really good about it too. Is that like Amanda is like the email, the this, the that, and she's like, I need help with this, and I'm like, I need help with that. But we are very good at our strengths and like our creation of our strengths and our completion and our accountability to do such. And so I think like a lot of my aha moments are things like that were more in my control because I'm like, oh, I see how I can do that differently. Not that you didn't have a part of it, but it was like more my primary kind of duty and different things of that. And I'm excited. I mean, I'm super excited about the next launch.
Oh yeah, me too. Because and I hope everybody understands this, that the more you do something, the more you get all the kinks out, the more you learn from it. You should be learning from every single launch. And quite frankly, if you are launching something, if you are marketing something and absolutely everything is perfect the first time, then you launched too late. I'm a firm believer that if you
It's too inexpensive.
wait to the point, well, if you wait to the point where everything is absolutely perfect,
Oh yeah.
for the first time you launch, you've missed out on a lot of things because there are a lot of things that we messed up on that we were able to fix and adjust in the moment, which now we won't be doing those ones. We'll make new mistakes next time. I actually really like the opportunity to make new mistakes because as you grow and as you learn and as you change, your problems change, your challenges change, and then you can learn from them and not make those same mistakes twice and make new, more exciting, like probably more expensive mistakes. However, you have that opportunity to make those mistakes because if you're always in the same place making the same mistakes, you're doing the same stuff over and over, you're not going to get anywhere. So I'm really excited for the new mistakes because I'm not going to make the old ones that I definitely made. Now I've lessons learned. There's a couple of things I know that I know that I won't do twice, and I'm excited for the next one.
Same. This is not going to be to throw shade, but I think we also didn't discuss one of the elephants that was very much in the room as we were doing this. Speaking of expensive mistakes, so our first two launches, we actually hired a marketing team to help us out. And they did jack shit. And didn't do things. And you know what? The crazy thing is that Amanda is I have done ads, but not like Amanda. Usually I will oversee a team of doing it. It is not in my wheelhouse. It could be, but I choose not. I am the one picking up the phone. I'm leveraging my credibility. I'm making connections at high levels, licensees, getting funding, doing all of this different. That's my strength. Amanda is amazing at doing like more techie things, even though she doesn't always admit it, but she's like great at it. But we hired a marketing team. They didn't listen to us. They dropped the ball. They actually didn't do jack shit. And we had to fight to get our money back. And it's funny because they were trying to give us feedback on the program and this is why it's not working. This isn't clear, which is bullshit because then Amanda turned around, spent a lot less money based on and was able to hyper focus on the target that we originally, because our target didn't change, our audience didn't change, and the results were incredible. We so bad want to rub it in their face. Hopefully you're listening to this podcast, MFs.
Yeah, we're gonna rise above for this podcast anyway. Who knows what we'll do outside this podcast? Get a little bit. However, absolutely. And thank you, Lynn, for saying that. But I do not consider myself to be a techie person, though I do a lot of tech. I should probably do some more education on it. However, we have
been watching videos left and right. Like,
yes, that's true. I've gone down some very deep holes.
A lot of work. We had to unlearn and relearn new ways and dig deeper because it got us to the next level.
Yes, no, for sure. There has been a lot of work. There could always be more work. I love to go down rabbit holes for sure. I love filling in the gaps. However, There's something to be said about that. I think one of the reasons we're saying this is that just because somebody costs more or says that they can do something, you also have to do your due diligence. You also have to check in on that. If they can't prove your analytics, if they can't show you anything, that it's really okay to go to stand up for yourself. And it's also okay to seek other sources. And sometimes you got to roll up your sleeves and do it mostly yourself. I did also hire another specialist that I worked with before in the past, who I trust, and she's amazing. And I will hire her again.
Yeah,
as an advisor. Yes.
advisor.
She came in a couple of times and did an advisor, and I will absolutely hire her again as an advisor because she was fantastic. And, we learned a lot on that one. That was a hard lesson.
Well, I think, okay, so to overview is invest in ourselves, revise, rinse, repeat, right? Absolutely empower the team around you. Like we said, our team smashed it. And we have two that were really full-time with us during that time. Because we have anywhere from 5 to 20 some team members at any given time, depending on what we're doing and kind of the cycle we're in. And we had a couple other outliers like the ads person and a few other people, but invest in self, revise, rinse, repeat. You have to unlearn to learn, try new things, jump in, and it took work and action in that plan. And I think that is it's important, and to stay on top and to stay motivated and to I was thinking about this morning before we were deciding to record this particular podcast. And I was thinking of how a coach who's training someone how to essentially at track and field and training a sprinter, they train them to imagine that finish line 50 yards past what it is. And, although we didn't fully do that, we did in essence do that. And I know this next launch, that is exactly what we're going to do. That hypothetical finish line will be moved further, which will give us better results. And I couldn't be more proud of us and our team and the dedication and the learning and the commitment and the actions and the thinking on our feet. I couldn't be more proud.
It was a intense and fruitful and fun in some ways, less fun in others. But really, I'm so proud of our team. I'm so impressed with everything. And that includes our affiliates. Some people were really smashed it. And I just, there are definitely things that we will work on, because I don't think Lynn and I would ever consider anything to be perfect anymore. We are recovering perfectionists. So there's no such thing as perfect. And I think it was the next day, right after our last sales close, that we got on the phone. We're like, okay, what's next? It was just very.
Absolutely. Where we weren't planning on doing another launch. And one other thing that I do want to plan, and I know this is a little bit longer of a one, is that, it's interesting. And we kind of had this conversation, is that, yeah, we hit numbers, we hit industry standard or exceeded. We're definitely happy. Our BA group is insane, and they are loving the new platform. Those that maybe have continued on, because we had people from the first cohort continue, which is great. They're loving the new platform. The team has done amazing, but there was a lot of indirect kind of drumming up of things that have happened because of how much presence we had. And I'm having conversations with potential licensees. We're having conversations with other people who want to collaborate with us now. There's a lot of indirect manifestation that's happening because we did all of this movement. And then we said, okay, let's do it again. We have all of this ammo. Why not? Why not do a hyper focus in on something that they asked? So I love that you brought that up.
Yeah. You know what? It was crazy and it was awesome. And I'm really actually looking forward to the next one, because we do love our goals. So I'm really excited to write down my goals for the next time. So I'm pumped. I think that it's going to be, so if you are not currently on our email list, you should go ahead and subscribe to our newsletter, because you're going to hear a lot of fun new things that are coming out. we are super excited about it. So there'll be all sorts of fun freebies and masterclasses and things that are coming out. So we definitely want to get on our newsletter list. So if you aren't on it, scroll to the bottom of our show notes and get on it, because we want to keep you informed.
Absolutely. And let us know what questions you have about launching or pushing a product or the holiday season, which is coming out. And just a little bit of a teaser that that's what our next launch is all about.
I mean, it's like less than 125. It's like what? Like half a dozen weekends until Halloween. Come on now, folks. It's begun.
Yeah.
It's begun. We're over halfway to Halloween.
Yes. All right. I guess we should sign off. Otherwise, I think we could talk about this forever. We're already over 30 minutes. So till next time.
Get after it.
All right, everyone. It's not enough to just listen.
Now you've got to put it into action.
We are so excited to see what you do next.
If you enjoyed our show, please leave us a review on iTunes.
And to find out more about what we're doing, visit us at thepursuitofbadasserie.com.